Hello everyone. So today I am going to follow up on these three paintings. So on this painting we have just the red and the black. Here we've got some what used to be black has kind of been transformed, and then some red and some blue, and then just red, blue, green here. So I am going to start with the red since that will finish out this particular painting. And I'm going to use the same method that I used for these other two paintings. So I started with more of a soft brush here. I switched to a blade brush here, and then I switched to more of the delicate brush here to do some more detailed work. And also along with that, this is very dark. So I started with black and then just a hint of white to get some of that charcoal gray. So I'm gonna start with a very dark red, and that will lighten up progressively. So that is kind of my plan for the colors, and that is my plan for the brush strokes. As far as the design, that is left completely up to the intuitive painting. So I am just going to start with some very basic, I think I was using cadmium red. So cadmium red, and I am kind of hoping for like almost a wine color. I'm not actually sure if that's going to happen, but we're going to aim for a wine color. Merlot. And I have black, quite a bit of black into my red. It gives me a nice dark color. Now, I used crimson red when I was watercoloring, and it was more of a pink color. And now I've got kind of, it is very dark, but that's okay. That's what I was aiming for. It was a very, very dark red to get some of these dark places in. And then essentially I'm just going to add more and more white to that. And we'll see what colors we end up with. We might go with just plain white. And again, for this particular brush stroke, I am watering down my red just a little bit. And these dark patches are barely visible, so I'm very much just essentially trying to find dark places because this is a very light. This coat of paint went on pretty light, and that's fine. I'm just gonna kind of make it as I go, just trying to find some of those darker places as they pop out at me. And honestly, on camera, you probably can't even see some of those dark places. And you know that this particular painting was representative of a dark time in my life, and you know, the people around me definitely did not know that I was going through that. So I think that is very indicative of this particular painting, that it's you know, you can't always see things at face value, perhaps. This whole side seems to really have quite a bit of this dark, so that'll be nice. It'll add some flair to this. Like I said, don't know where this is going to end up. Just going to kind of take it as it goes. It's pretty dark in here. And a little bit more right in here. And that's pretty much it for that darker red. So now I'm going to try a couple of different things. Not sure which direction that I'm going to go. So right off the bat, I'm going to just share what this, without sharing the brand. Maybe I can do it with just the tip of the color. So it's kind of a bright red. It's not quite blood red, but it's pretty bright. So I don't know that that's the color I want. So I'm going to try a couple of different colors. I'm going to try some white in with this kind of this wine color, which, by the way, it turned out almost exactly the color that I wanted. Just that very dark, moody red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop some white into this existing color and just see where we go from there and see what color I get out of that, and see if that's going to look nice, and kind of have to use all of the color that I have, all of that red, to get a good mix. This color, it's kind of a, I don't even know how to describe this color, mauve almost. That it's definitely dark. So like I want this to be roughly equivalent to this dark gray. So this kind of is very equivalent to a very dark black, and this is kind of a dark. I do think that that might need a little bit more red in it, possibly a hint more black, and just darken that just a hair. It's a little bit too bright. I got a little bit too much white in there. So this is what I ended up with. Still very dark. It's almost, yeah, the only color I know that I've ever seen this used on is mauve. So for those of you that are too young to remember this, back in the 1980s, late 80s, early 90s, mauve was a very popular color in people's homes. And so that I definitely remember my mom giving us mauve walls at one point. So that's anybody from that time period is going to know what I'm talking about. You know, everybody kind of wanted this color, and it definitely creates a moody red and mauve, and yeah, it's turning out pretty decently. I like that color combination together. This is where it gets a little tricky because I don't know how much of the lighter color that I want to leave. And then also this kind of place for the mix, we definitely want to leave that to be purple. As you can see, this mauve color, it kind of does have purplish tints to it, but it's still very much a red, a black, and a white. That's what I mixed to get to this color. So the black might have a little bit of blue in it. The cadmium red might have some blue colors to it also. Those can contribute to kind of a purplish look to it. Now these colors have gone in together. They've mixed a little bit. We're just gonna keep on adding these together. See how they. I might go back in and get the grays and the mauves, or whatever, wherever the blacks and the other colors mix. I'm gonna probably go in. Now I think I've gotten most of the places where that mauve color is reaching, but I definitely want to leave a few places. I did use just a hint of a very lighter gray. So I kind of want to leave that to be a hint. Again, this is dark time in my life, so we're representing as much darkness as we can, as little light as we can. But there are just a few places where those lighter pinks kind of pop out. So now that we have this canvas has the medium pink on it, we're going to go to the middle canvas. And again, I'm using the bladed brush to get more of those jagged lines within the red. I'm not sure about this. I kind of like this curvy line, so I might leave that. I might not use my bladed brush, or I might find a way to make it curvy. Don't know. But this part right here, so this pink part right here, I need to get that mauve color on here in jagged lines somehow. Still going to honor this mystery purple color that we haven't quite decided on. So I'm just going to, again, just getting my bladed brush, a little bit of water, And I'm going to try to see, this is a very uniform piece of pink in here. And so I'm almost halfway doing this randomly, halfway looking for imperfections in the canvas. This is a very, very uniform piece, and so it's not really offering much to work with. So I'm kind of running up, and all of my slants are kind of pointing the same way, so that's something that I'm just trying to find a few places where there's darker patches. There is not much. Okay, so I've got those handfuls of places, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and fill them in as I can to make them a little bit more interesting. This looks like something there. Don't know what that is. Just making a few more lines in different directions. I'm almost connecting these little chunks based on what I found. And it just gives us some of those jagged lines that are matching the jagged lines that I have already. And, seeing how these jagged lines are lining up with that part that I'm not sure if it should be squishy or not, or more flowy, I think I might be able to get something that's a little bit more flowy lines, kind of right up to that purple. Possible. Don't know yet. So it's just kind of messing up some of those lines so they're not quite as jagged. So. Kind of like going right up to that line. It's kind of creates a little bit of full look to it. And then, as I'm looking in here, I can see there's definitely a place where this is a little bit darker. I'm right up to that purple line, seeing if I can get it to stand out a little. And that looks about like all I can do with this particular color. So now, as I did before, all I did was I added a scoop of white to get to this color. So I'm going to just add another scoop of white and see what I get with that. So just because my brush got a little bit messy last time, I think I may stir with the back of my brush sometimes to keep things a little bit nicer and neater. So, taking my big fluffy brush that I have and just kind of mixing up that mauve color. There's quite a bit of water in here, that's fine. Trying to stay away. I have the pile of black is very close to that. I don't want to get too close to that. All right, so I've got kind of a much lighter color, kind of bringing the white, the red, the black, but it's mostly white and it's kind of a nice pale pink. And so I don't know that it's nice. I think that and I'm totally painting with my left hand because I feel like it probably would have been easier if I would have just flipped the canvas, but sometimes you just gotta go rogue, right? So I'm just gonna kind of catch, and my brush has quite a bit of paint on it. I did not empty it at all. So I am very much going random on here, just getting some random colors. trying to stay as close to this kind of these shapes, places as possible. It is going to make some of the detailed work a little bit tougher, but just kind of getting some of these places filled in without kind of hitting that line. That actually seems like a really cool way of approaching this is to go around the edges and pull it away. Now I have to go back in for more paint. Hopefully I can thin my brush a little. It's pretty thick on there. This is a perfect place to kind of brush back into that wine color, that mauve color. Very dark. You know, and as I'm talking through this painting, a lot of the experiences that I had when I was in the dark place, this is very representative of that. Things are like starting to take shape, but it's uncertain, and I think that this is a really good representation of when people are kind of going into and coming out of that dark place. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty with that, so I think that this is a good depiction of how that feels, that uncertainty that we have in those moments. And I think about most of the darker places, just trying to get as much of those darker colors hidden, and then we'll add some more of the white in last. This area is just very dark over here. Okay, so however, now that I have this lighter pink, that is the color that gets brought over into our third painting, and this is a little bit more detailed work. So I'm using my my little brush, and again, I'm just gonna very much follow the lines that were already here, and we'll see if they make meaningful shapes later. If they don't, then they're just going to be very clear lines that have no recognizable shape. So it's almost like it's very concrete, very clear painting, but I can't tell what it is. It doesn't look like anything to me, but I'm like very carefully painting it. It's kind of an interesting way of approaching it. And this looks a little bit lighter, so I know that I will be coming back here with some of that lighter color, so I think I'm gonna just leave that lighter color just because I know I'm gonna come in with another. Actually, in my painting, it looks like I only used a couple colors here. We'll see how it turns out. Not a lot of talking going on very detailed work. I don't have much to talk about today. So it's a cloudy day today, the day that I'm making this painting. It's cloudy, Sunday, it's relaxing. And of course, the painting process is itself relaxing to me. A lot of this is getting a little bit lighter, so I don't want to get rid of too much of that very light pink. I feel like this is a little bit. All right, so last round. So now this last round of pink is going to definitely be, I'm going to add another round of white. So as you can see here, I did black, and then I did a charcoal gray, and then I did a very light gray. So the reds, I've got the wine red, the mauve, and then actually I've not added this latest color in there yet. So this very, very pale pink goes in there too. So I'm just going to add that color in, and I didn't even blend any of this stuff yet, these colors. So they're going to probably be, I don't know that they're going to blend very nicely, but I'm going to do my best to get them to blend. And I can see that I've got that darker, what's going to be purple. I'm gonna call it and say that when I first saw that it looked purple, so I'm going to use purple as kind of a blending color between the black and the pink. Right. So I'm just getting my brush a little bit wet, a little bit clean, and I'm gonna kind of go in here and go in and out of some of these colors to get them a little bit blended. They are pretty well blended, but just kind of. And this one I'm not as concerned about if they blend nicely or not, because the colors here were so hard to distinguish from each other. So any irregularities are going to look really nice on this particular painting. There were not a whole lot of them before. So that looks about where I want to leave it. So that one's done for the day. And then back to this one. So in this one we had some charcoal, some medium, and then just white. And so I think I might just add some plain white to here. So I am going to get a little bit of white. That adds quite a bit of white to this palette. But there's quite a bit of these spots. And I might even go back into that mauve and just see if I can just add more in here, because I don't want to have too much white. My brush is incredibly wet, but that's okay. Again, just going around, just adding as much of that color as I can. And then now I will go back in and add white to this. So very similar to what I did here, just adding any place that there isn't already color. Just going to kind of be added some very delicate little white spots that just fill in any kind of missing spots. Nothing more. There is quite a bit of wet pink on here, so this is all very, very wet. It hasn't had a chance to absorb. It's going to do something. It's going to blend, or it'll just sit on top. Either way, it's fine. I'm fine with either. If it blends, it blends. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think that's also indicative of, healing process. This was a healing journey. This painting represents healing. And sometimes in that healing process, in my case at least, I took a chance on walking away from some of the more conventional and modern medicines and went back to my roots, did some more of the homeopathic types of care, and that's a huge chance. Like, I have no idea if it's going to work. It worked for me. It might not work for the next person. So that's kind of very indicative of this particular painting is, sometimes we just have to hold our breath and hope that it works out for the best. And in this case, I think this painting is working out really well. In my health, obviously, this is no longer in the healing part of it. I'm definitely in the feeling much better part of my life. So this is very, very cool. I actually really like this white in here. I was not expecting this color or this particular painting to turn out with brighter colors. I was definitely thinking it was going to be a little bit more somber, but I very much like the way it's turned out, and I think that's the key with intuitive painting is just kind of trusting that it's going to work out. Hear a lot of people talking about having faith, and I would say that the process that I'm using is definitely one of those, just hoping that it's going to work out for the best, and that I'm not sure what the outcome could possibly be. Could definitely be a failure, could definitely be amazing, and just kind of hoping that it's amazing. That's by definition faith. I think that one looks good. Again, this one looks like a gypsum case that caved me. This one's kind of looking, I don't know what rubies look like, but kind of like a ruby cave. And then back over to our final painting. So again, we've got some pink in here that lighter pink. I'm going to use my very thin brush, and I'm just going to add, again, some more white. Don't know what this is going to turn out like. I'm certainly not making anything final here. I'm just kind of painting in very carefully where these lines are, where these colors are. And then, like I said, I think this painting is turning into the most abstract out of the three of them, just because of how the colors have landed. Doesn't mean that it's going to permanently be unrecognizable shapes, but if it is, then it is, and if it's not, it's okay too. I think that it would be kind of fun if I was able to pull some more recognizable shapes, but those things might not be apparent until further on in this journey. And I think that that's true also of illness and recovering from illness. So, in my case, definitely not knowing, whether my illness was going to leave me permanently in that dark place or permanently in a state of pain. And I learn new things even today of different things about some of the illness, some of the recovery. I still have, like I said, I still have those moments of pain, moments of darkness, but for the whole, it's definitely, I feel like I'm learning new things. So this process, like this is happening. So for anybody out there who's listening that's dealing with kind of chronic illness and you're dealing with those types of things, these pieces, these colors were there at the beginning. There was just no way that you could see what was happening with them. And as we're doing this little painting journey together, we also have no idea where this painting is going to end up. That's the beauty of intuitive painting, and I think it's the beauty of the healing process that we don't know where things are going to end up. I am kind of getting into my grays a little. I was thinking the grays were kind of looking like rocks earlier, so maybe they might turn into rocks, some shadows and stuff. So we don't know. They might not. So there we go. So I've got all three done for today. Just added red. That's it. That was my only color for today. And then as these get more and more complicated, the videos obviously will get a little bit longer. But next session, rather than going into the purple on these two, I'm just going to go straight to the blue, and I'm going to follow the same path that I followed with the red and the black. And so this is going to be a little bit more abstract, kind of like this. It's the first time that this was introduced, and then this is going to maybe be a little bit more spiky. And that's my plan for the next video. Take care.